everyone, I'm Becky Kaufman and this is Saving Taste. Today we're going to be making chocolate dipped shortbread. Shortbread is a Scottish cookie and it's almost equal parts butter and flour, but who really cares? So our first ingredient is butter. Obviously we have 3 sticks here and same as 3/4 of a pound of butter. Just cut up small into cubes and you want this at room temperature. You can put it in the microwave to warm it up a little bit, but don't melt it or else your cookies won't have any body and they'll just go completely flat. To that we're going to add a cup of plain old white sugar and this is going to get creamed together. Creaming basically means mixing butter into whatever. You can cream things into flour. This is how you make pastry. I like to do this with a plain old wooden spoon. You can also use a stand mixer or you can even use a food processor for this, but for that you want your butter really cold because the heat from the blade can warm it up. And this will all come together, you just have to be patient. A little elbow grease. Everybody's had shortbread and it's the butter that really makes it taste so good. You know, everyone remembers when they were a kid, the shortbread that comes in the plaid tins. And this is just a really refined and basic recipe. Shortbread is a great vehicle for adding other flavors. You can put, I have vanilla extract here, which is going in a minute, but you could do almond extract, you could put hazelnut extract, anise, whatever you want in it basically. Just if you're going to dip it, you want to make sure that those flavors marry well with chocolate, and most things do. So my butter and sugar have formed a really nice smooth paste. Next ingredient is going to be vanilla, or any extract that you want to put in. Just a teaspoon. You don't want to overwhelm the flavor of the butter. Basically, that's what this dish really is about. And let's face it, butter tastes really good. It's rich and vaguely sweet and has an enormous depth of flavor just by itself. So our vanilla's all good. Basically, when you bake, you put dry into wet. So I have 3½ cups of flour here. To that, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Go easy on the salt. You don't want to taste it, but it is just going to bring out the flavors of everything else. Now you do want to whisk it or sift this somehow because you just chuck your flour in out of the bag. It has lumps in it. You can use a big sieve. I don't have one that's big enough to use with this bowl, so you can use a whisk. If you just whisk it up, it'll break up any lumps and it'll help mix your flour in. It's a nice little shortcut. You can always use a strainer. And it doesn't take long at all. If you have something like cocoa, which naturally tends to clump up, then you really do need to put it through a sieve. But this, you don't. So this is going to go into our lovely butter mixture, a little bit at a time, and just mix it in as you go. Do a couple additions, so you don't have a huge ball of flour and a huge ball of butter and try to put them together. So our last addition of flour is in, and this is where things get dirty. The best way to figure out whether something is mixed completely is to use your hands. The 2 best kitchen tools you have are on the ends of your arms. This way you can really work the butter into the flour, and you can just tell what it feels like and what it looks like. And get all the way to the bottom of the bowl. Once I'm done kneading this and making it all pretty and smooth, you don't, right about here this is a good almost there stage. You have little bits of butter and you don't want to smash the thing completely. It's not going to be completely homogeneous, but you want all your flour mixed in and you want it to be smooth on top. I'm going to finish kneading this and I'm going to pat it into a ball, and this is going to go in the refrigerator for about ½ an hour. You really want your butter to get cold again before you put it in the oven, because if it's warm it'll melt too fast and your cookies will go flat, which is what nobody wants. So I'm going to finish this and chill it, and then I'm going to show you how to roll it out or use my special trick. So here we have our dough. This is exactly what it should look like both going in and coming out of the fridge. It's patted down, it's uniform in color, and it has a nice texture to it. Shortbread is sticky stuff, so you want to make sure that your surfaces are floured and your hands are floured, and I'm going to do that right now. Don't worry if a little falls in the bowl. So usually you roll out shortbread and you can do it on your counter. As long as it's clean, you can do it on a cutting board. That's an awful lot of trouble and I don't like to do it. So what I do is just take a tablespoon and flour it so everything doesn't stick. And get about a golf ball size hunk of dough. And just roll it up, make a ball. Put this on your sheet and you can use a drinking glass or I'm going to use a measuring cup. and just dip the bottom in flour so this doesn't stick, and squish it. This is gonna happen, don't panic. This one's not so pretty, but you can just mold it back together and you have a nice little round cookie, and that's perfectly fine to dunk, which is what we're gonna do. This is a really beautiful shortbread recipe, and it's pretty much the perfect shortbread recipe because you can do a whole bunch of things with it besides dip it in chocolate. One of my favorite Christmas cookies is thumbprints, and they're basically shortbread cookies with, and you stick your thumb in it and you put a little jam in it. I'm sure at some point I'm going to show you how to make those, but this is the recipe that I use. So here are our cookies all stamped out and ready to go in the oven. You need some space in between them, but they're not going to go crazy. So just about 1 inch space between each cookie. These are going to go in at 350 for between 20 and 25 minutes. You check them often. You don't want them dark or burnt on the bottom, but you want them slightly brown around the edges. When we come back, these are already going to be cooled, and I'm going to show you how to dunk them and finish them. So our cookies have come out of the oven and they're completely cool. What I did was just melt some chocolate chips in the microwave. Mine, with my microwave, took about 1.5 minutes. And it's fine texture, but it's not quite smooth enough for dipping. And I want to show you a cool trick. This is about a teaspoon of corn oil. You can use vegetable oil, you can use canola oil. And when you put that in, it helps to loosen the chocolate and give it a really pretty shine. And it's going to really translate to the finished product. You just want to do this after you've already melted your chocolate. You don't want this to burn in the microwave. Trust me, I've done it before. So just take one of your shortbread cookies, and I like to just kind of drizzle, and instead of just throwing the whole thing in. You really don't want a thick layer of chocolate on it, so just dunk a little bit and smooth it around. This goes on parchment paper, and this is the coarse sugar that I'm going to use. This is called, got a couple names. This is coarse golden sugar. I call it demerara sugar. You just want something that's coarse so it will hold up to the chocolate and it won't just melt in. And I have a couple to show you. This is what it looks like once it's cooled. The chocolate's a little more shiny, and you can eat it. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, if it doesn't taste good, don't eat it.